Hi guys, and welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. This is episode number 36. Apologies to the visual listeners, or the watchers, as we should call them. If you can see Sanaya in the background, it's because Sanaya's in the background.
You can actually see her in
sorting
the
out all
background.
of Reece's old clothes. So apologies for that. You need to get a background, like a backdrop.
I know. I need to buy one of them, mate. I need to go onto Fiverr and say, can anybody sort me out?
I got it from Shannon's work.
Really? What? They printed it for you?
Yeah, sorted it out.
I'll be sending Shannon an email in a few days.
Mate, honestly, no one's contacted you, have they? I've probably had a handful of people. I'm not going to say I've had loads. I've had a handful of people ask me where I got it done, and then I always send them Shannon's email, but they never contact her because they know that I'll do them in. Talk to my bird.
Nowhere to put it. There'd be nowhere to hang it. It would be because there's not a wall that I can have behind me, right behind. So I'd have to move everything around. But that's why we're actually, believe it or not, moving a few things around today. I said to Sanaya, I was like, right, I'll give you as much money as it costs. You can redo my room if you want. You can redo everything. I was like, just go to town.
Get rid of the Angry Birds.
Yeah. Do not get rid of the Angry Birds. For everyone listening, I have two massive.
We put that on a poll on Spotify.
What, should Reece get rid of his Angry Birds?
Is it
I don't care. I don't care. I'm 23 years old. 23 years old, and I have two massive Angry Birds.
Will you show them?
No, I don't, because it's I don't. No, it's not. You're not involved in this podcast.
Oh, she is now.
Oh, here we go. So again, any audio listeners, that's cool. That's cool. Don't give a fuck. That's cool. I don't care.
Cool.
That's cool. No, it's not cool. But
right, I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put a poll. Is it cool that Reece still has those?
There's another one. Oh, look. Which one's your favourite, mate? The red or the yellow?
The red.
The red, fair enough. Right, the red. The yellow one's on 50-50, might be sent out soon, but the red one can be kept in. So fantastic start to the podcast, mate. How's your week been? Everything been all right? I mean, devolume rotation, we spoke about a bit of fatigue. It would have been last Thursday, so we were actually midway through a deload. So devolume rotations, mate, how they been?
It's been all right. Yeah, it's been all right. So what did we have? We had Wednesday and Friday off, didn't we?
Yeah, with Thursday as the rest day.
Yeah. So we had... Yeah, that's right. So we had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. So we only had 3 days off, but it felt like a decent amount, didn't it? But I always, like I've said this before, I always feel, coming back from a deload, I always feel a little bit off. Like I never feel 100%. I always feel a bit worse. And it takes me like a week to settle back into things, even just from 3 days off. So that's why I'll have a devolume week in the first week back. It's not necessarily just for that. But I almost feel like 3 days isn't enough for me to feel fresh to go through like a full meso again. So I'd either have like 5 full days off or a couple of sessions off and then a devolume week in the first week afterwards. So obviously that's what we've done. Last devolume session was yesterday, so back to normal volume from tomorrow. But yeah, everything's been all right. I'm starting to feel good again now. So the first few sessions back, I just feel like a little bit lethargic. I often feel like I'm aching more, and I think it's because I've done a bit less. Like we were saying, weren't we? Like training is almost like the glue that keeps us stuck together. When you stop training, we actually feel worse because like we're not generating any blood flow, or I'm sat here. Obviously, we both sit when we're working. We ought to get like standing desks, to be fair, but we both sit when we work. So obviously those days that we were deloading, we're not sitting loads more than normal, but we're sitting and then we're chilling rather than sitting and then getting up and going to train and then coming back. Like we were sitting and then I was trying to chill a little bit. I did a bit extra work, but I'd put my feet up for an hour and be like, oh, cool. I'll actually try and chill and like not do any work and just put like TV on for an hour. Like usually I'll have half an hour at the end of the day with Shannon, but I was trying to something that I say to my clients is try and have a routine. So when you have a deload, try and keep the same kind of routine that you would. So on the days that you train, still...
Wait, what? On the deload, I just woke up at 2 p.m. And I was like,
I know, I thought you did.
But it's 2 p.m.
I can't wake up at that time because I have to post my weight on my story. So I have to get up there. Looking that.
Yeah.
Go straight back to bed after. I'm knackered. I'm like, I'll go straight back to bed. Got to make people think that I'm up and I'm being productive, but I go straight back to bed.
Yeah, to be fair, mate, you need to start putting up at 3 a.m. being right, early morning grind, straight back to bed.
So many setups to do.
Yeah, so many setups.
I business people you should keep the same kind of routine, then the time that you would usually train, do something else, whether it be having a nap, whether it be watching a film, whether it be going for a walk or going on a spa day, or like just plan something, going for a massage, like just plan something in to keep that same structure. So I was doing that, but what I was planning in was like, right, I'm going to try and have a nap, or I'm going to stick a film on or whatever. I watched the Rooney documentary, like, because I wouldn't usually have time to watch that. So that was quite nice that I could watch that. Little
Did
things
you actually have a nap? Did you manage a nap?
Huh?
Did you manage a nap?
No, mate, no. I massively struggle. The thing is, by the time that I've finished work, it's too late to nap.
Yeah, I'm the same.
On a rest day, like, well, they were all rest days, obviously, but they were like deload days. I was doing a bit more work, but like by the time I'd finished work, like immediate work, so check-ins and being at the desk, I think it'd be like already like 2-3 p.m. I don't want to be having a nap at that point when I'm going to bed at 9. So it's like it's not really been worth it, and I don't want to take away from my morning routine to have a nap. I don't want to nap between check-ins or anything like that, because I'll then be unproductive when I wake up. So it's difficult. I do like the idea of being able to have one, but it's just a bit difficult.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of those, like, I think I finished like every day at like 4, and I was like, yep, Sam, no nap here. Like, it was like, there's literally not enough time, unfortunately. Well, there is enough time, but like you said, it would have to be where I've got like 4 more check-ins to do, or 3 more check-ins, and I'm like, right, I'm going for a nap. That's a bit bizarre.
Yeah, it feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the only actual time I ever really napped, like I napped a fair bit during like the midpoints of prep, like towards the latter end, sleep was awful, but like the midpoints where, like, you know, because we were training obviously 4 times, we had 3 rest days. I'd usually, and because like my routine was so structured, I'd probably be done with check-ins on rest days at like 1, and I was like, right, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'd have a meal, go for a walk, and then I'd have like a half an hour nap. And that was the only time in my adult life that I've ever actually napped consistently. Yeah. Like, since finishing uni or being there, literally, I used to nap all the time when I was at uni. I think everyone does. You'd go to lectures where you were like half asleep. You'd get back, you'd eat. You didn't go to lectures. So,
too busy working, mate.
Too busy, that's what it was.
Too busy
checking. Yeah,
I wasn't doing check-ins, but I was too busy working.
Yeah, but no, so yeah, it was devolume rotation. My actual volume went back to normal yesterday, but that's based off the fact that my session is like, it's a lot of actual volume. It's like 30 sets in the session, which is mental if you think about it, like 30 sets, but the actual demand of those sets isn't too high. So it's a delts and arm day. I added 3 sets of pull, so a single arm, a pull down, 1 set, and then 2 sets of a cable row, just because I don't really need to be like bringing up my back massively, but I feel like, again, it could probably get away with just a little bit more. It's the same as what you had. Do you remember when you had that session where you were like, I feel like I could probably get away with a little bit of pull on this session, and eventually I'll probably look to kind of escalate it up in the sense of
I feel like when you're training any body part at once a week, I feel like there's always room for like
additional work.
Yeah, like I class it as like a bit of a top up, if you like. So like my quads and delt session, like that's not a full quad session, but it's like top up of quads, if you like. But if I was to train the same like Tuesday session that we have at Ultraflex, if I was to do that twice a week, there's no chance I'd be able to do that. But I can do like that extra bit of a top up, if you like. So yeah, I think you could have some body parts at just once a week, but I think if possible, I'd rather have, you know, even if you class that as like 1.5 times per week, kind of like you're not doing a hell of a lot of back there, and it's not going to be overly demanding. It's not going to take away from your pull session on Saturday. No.
Yeah, I almost view it as like a bucket, and when you've got a session that feels like that glass, right, for example, like it almost feels like a certain amount.
Pepsi Max, no caffeine.
Yeah, exactly. So it almost fills a certain amount, and then you can get away with topping it up. And if you were to do the same twice, it probably would overfill, and you're not going to lead to recovery.
Another good analogy that I use for people with a glass or with a bottle is body fat. So, for example, let's imagine this bottle is your body, and the water is the body fat, and people are,
is your water all the way up? Is it overfilling?
My water's fucking. I've got like an 8-gallon big massive jug, mate. But no, like. This bit here, when people are like, I want to lose it off my stomach, like let's say that's the bit right at the bottom. So you could pour out 90% of it, but it's still going to be there because that's where it's like finally going to come off. So people are like, I'm not getting leaner, but realistically you are. It's just that you're not going to notice it until that last bit comes off. And
you could also argue again, and this is one thing, it's a little bit off topic, but like with what you were saying, you don't ever, like you can lose, let's say you were 100 kilos and you go from 100 kg to 90 kg. You'll probably get to 90 kg and go, okay, I look leaner. And then you get to 80 kg, so another 10 kilos off. You're like, fucking hell, I'm really lean. Like it's almost where as you get leaner, more significant every kilo comes off. So like, as you mentioned, you can lose a decent amount of weight and be like, I'm not really losing it. And they might lose it. Like say they've lost 10 kilos, they might lose another 3 and be like, wow, I'm really happy with how I look, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah,
not
it's
every kilo is
like,
the same. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. And every bit of body fat is not the same. I mean, that analogy could be prescribed perfectly towards my my back during prep. My front peeled, no more fat to come off. My back fat. Like 6 weeks out, we looking at each other like, back's just fucking wank, isn't it? It's just not getting lean.
Coming in, was it? But
yeah. That was still one of the weirdest things like I've ever experienced. With like, I've never had a client. That being said, like obviously when it comes to competition prep, it's completely different to like a fat loss phase for a holiday because it's not where, or like a fat loss phase in general. But like it legitimately was quite weird when you remember. Like, I remember being quite confused. I was like, this makes no sense. Like it obviously does make sense. It's how it occurred, but it was alarmingly strange how lean my front was. And I remember like saying to Sanaya, well, I'm not that worried because there's no fat on my front. So eventually it has to come off my back. Like it has to, like it's going to eventually.
Yeah. I think I can't remember whose post it was, but they must have been coached by Callum because they put something like, it might have been that Connor Renchen, I don't know how you say his name. Yeah. But he put something like, you're only as lean as your fattest body part. Right. I remember Callum saying that and it stuck with me. And it's true. Yeah. Like, you know, we weren't, I remember like every time that I looked at you, it was literally like, your back's not in. Like it was never, oh yeah, your front looks amazing, but your back, it was like, right, your back's not lean yet. Like that was the main focus because that's what mattered at the time. Like, so that I think that's something that's quite worth, like, it's worth noting that, like, for people that are prepping in either this year or in the future, like, don't just look at where you're lean, because if you just look at your arms, you'll think you'll be ready. Like you now, for example, like you could compete if you are in terms of your arms.
The
like,
arm class, the arm and delt class, I reckon I could probably get away with. Yeah, if it was arms and delts, sound, you know, it's one of those. Like again, it is weird because if you were to like look at every single body part, like we were like 6 weeks out, and I was like, front, there's literally nothing that could come off. My legs, like probably 3 weeks out, were like ready. I remember the second I dropped off a bit of fatigue just from doing cardio and steps, and I pulled that down, like my legs were like really, really, really like more in than I thought they, like the more in than they needed to be by a mile. Everything was, but my back was like still, even 3 weeks, we were like, fuck it out, more needs to come off. Like it was an interesting
even when you competed, there was still like your back still wasn't like
my back was like
conditioned as it could have been.
Yeah, it was a weird one because like I'd almost like look at my front and like I don't like the phrase too lean, but my front probably was too conditioned for physique if you were to go off criteria. Likewise, I think everything was, but my back was probably like, I'm not going to say like passable because I think that's pretty, like your back could always be leaner, but like I wouldn't have got marked down on my back, definitely. I wouldn't have got marked down, but that was the aim. I didn't want to get marked down on it, but it would have been ridiculous to imagine like if I was truly like, if my back was as lean as my front, like it probably would have been where like...
But if your back was as lean as your front, we would have pushed the fullness a lot more, like because we'd have had a bit more time to do that. Like, because it was like in the final weeks, really, not like you weren't in any rush at all, but like let's say 6 weeks out, we were like, right, your back's not going to be ready if we're not careful. Yeah, but like I think if we'd have been 6 weeks out, like, oh, you sound like, give it a week or two and you're there, like you'd have been able to push your fullness a lot more. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, it's quite cool though, because like again, even as having a chat there, like that's going to give us information for next time, you know. And it's the same as like what we've said. Like your best look was like what I think it was around 6 weeks out, wasn't it? It was about four weeks out, and I look back at those photos and think like, fucking hell, I look so much better than when I competed. Yeah, it's a shame. Like I'll look at some photos of me and I was like, look, like I'm quite happy that I looked the way I did for the finals because that was my best look by a mile. But I almost, like the first 2 shows, it was like an in-between kind of approach of like, I wasn't full, I was flat, and I wasn't like, I was very, very lean, but it was where like you couldn't even really tell that I was that lean because it was like that, I was just flat. And then the finals was the only showing where I remember looking at myself and I was like, yeah, this is good. Like, this is very good. Like the first few shows, I know I looked good, but like it wasn't where like I was like, wow, this is the best kind of package. I could be like, yeah, I could be probably a good 5%, 10% better. Men's physique is so much about that fullness through like the arms, the delts. And
it's the balancing act. Yeah. It's so like, I feel like bodybuilding, and again, this could be taken out of context, but it's just a sense of getting absolutely sliced and then how much muscle you hold and how much muscle you have. And in physique, it's almost like, oh, you want to be lean, but you want to be conditioned. But then at the same time, you almost have to have that fullness. and that requires
I
a
think
very successful prep in all aspects.
I think it is the same for both. Like,
I would say it is like at the elite level, 100%. But I think, for example, like in natural bodybuilding, I think it's usually like who's got the most condition, who has, let's say, the most amount of muscle.
Yeah, I feel
And,
like sometimes in bodybuilding you can get away with being flat if you're in the field, like because it's like Jesus Christ. But
I wouldn't have. I
benefit.
wouldn't have won. I would if I was. Let's say, even though I don't think it was really possible, but let's say I was 5% more conditioned, I don't think I would have been any better. I probably would have looked worse.
No,
exactly.
I
would have looked better.
That you lost
if I was
to Jack was because he was rounder.
Yeah,
like through the delts and the chest and the arms, really.
Yeah.
And his posing was a bit better, and he's been around a bit. He's done more shows, like things like that. But
definitely.
In terms of actually like aesthetically. And then the reason that you lost to the alien is because he's an alien.
He's an alien. He's not even like he wasn't born on this planet. So
it's not
fair. Not fair. But yeah, no, definitely. Like I would have been better if I was like instead of 92 to 95 kilos, if I was 95 to 98. But then like we said, my back wouldn't have been 100% crisp. But then I also look and like for Jack, for example, I don't think his back was like if anything, he was softer. Like he was just really full, really round. Like it wasn't where like I looked at him and was like, wow, your condition's good. It was like, cool, your condition's good.
Yeah,
like,
he was conditioned. He was in a good spot. Yeah, had a good balance of both.
Yeah, but I felt like I was almost the first two shows, I was a little bit too much towards the condition, but a bit flat. And then the finals, I was like a good blend, but it would have been better if I was probably another kilo up, I'd say. So probably a little bit more fuller. But then additionally, you could say, well, the guy who beat me probably had better. I say he was.
Yeah,
he was more conditioned.
He was ridiculously peeled. His back, especially.
Yeah, his back was a lot more conditioned. Front, pretty much the same. Like, and he just had like more like blockier abs, and he was rounder again. Yeah. So it's it's a balancing act of trying to see how things are. So yeah, made it about myself now. I do apologise, but I actually quite enjoyed that. Anything else that you want to touch on last week, mate? Or is that pretty much?
No, mate. We can get into the questions.
Sound right.
Many?
I think I got a fair few. This is the day where I think it's been announced. I just got a news thing. People flee with cities under siege. So I think there's been a world war that's been announced. I'm not too sure. But I'm guessing so. I went onto Twitter and saw that people were talking about it, and we got asked a few questions.
It's not a world war yet, is it? It's just.
Did I say world war?
Russia invading Ukraine.
Yeah. A war. So yeah, I got asked a few questions
about that, do we?
Mate, I don't really like. I got
thoughts on the Ukraine. The place to be chatting about.
Thoughts on the Ukraine border crisis. Will Finn and Reece be prescribed to train soldiers? I also got asked, which side are you in, Ukraine or Russia? I don't really have a side. I don't really follow politics, unfortunately, so I wouldn't really know. Well, and then I think I got asked one more, and it was what's your thoughts? It's like, does it really matter? Like, it's not a good situation. War, I don't think is ever positive. But hey ho,
I don't know if there is a side. I feel like I don't know too much about it, but I'm pretty sure that like Russia has literally just gone and invaded Ukraine. I don't think it's like picking sides. I don't think Ukraine have tried to fight back or anything. Like they're just like, okay.
They're like, so cheers, lads.
Yeah, cheers for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyway, let's leave those questions because we're not in a position to really be educated enough.
If we actually followed the political side, we could definitely actually have some opinion. But unfortunately, I wouldn't feel comfortable talking on something that I have literally no idea upon. And even then, it's going to be an opinion.
Even then, although I know it's the world we're living in now, and we have to be aware of that. But it's also just very, very sort of morbid to be like, let's just chat about war throughout.
It's news in general, mate. I find the news I think it's only good if there's sport news on or something like that. I rarely ever, whenever I listen to the news on the radio or hear someone listening, I'm always it's always just COVID this, war this, outcry here, murder here, stabbing. It's can't be positive just to listen to all the bad stuff that happens.
I said that to Shannon. Shannon has the news app on her phone, and I said, tell her why have you got that? And remember when we were early in our relationship, she'd tell me stuff, and I'd say to her don't tell me. We didn't never fall out about it, but we'd be getting ready for bed and she'd tell me something that's horrible that had happened. And I'd be like, I don't need to hear that before bed. I'm trying to relax. So we used to have not arguments, but I used to say to her, look, keep that to yourself. Like if you want to read the news about horrible things that are going on, be my guest, but don't tell me about it. I don't need to know about
I don't. Yeah, like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to know about stuff like that.
She used to be a bit like, what? Like, because it was just the norm for her to like read the news and chat about it. But for me, I was like, I'm not.
It's a waste of time.
Delusional. I know that these things go on, but I don't need to be reminded of it 24/7 and thinking about it when I'm trying to get to sleep. Like, so we did used to have a chat about that. We used to say, "Shut the fuck up."
Sharon, stop fucking mention the news again.
Horrible news.
Right. So, GB Fitness 17, a big goal. Why can't I install Google Sheets on my Acer? I don't know if you can install Google Sheets. I just type in Google Sheets.
First question.
You know? Yeah, he's actually asked another one. That's the reason why I said, how do you juggle clients throughout the week? Number of check-ins per day, etc. So it's actually quite funny. I was speaking to about to Snyder the other day. I think today actually, regarding the check-in process. And I said, like, I used to always have my check-ins on like a Sunday. I'd be like, right, first, like when I had like 8 clients, I was like, right, check in on Sunday, like last day before, a new week. And I was like, so therefore you can be all ready for a new week. And then I remember I was like, oh, go on to Saturday, put a few on there. And it kind of just grew to the point where I was like, right, I can handle 2 on a Monday. Then I got to a 4, then I got to a 6, and then it kind of got throughout the week. And I went from there. And I know, like, you're fairly similar to me. Like, you'll prioritize your rest days. Sunday you have intentionally a fair bit less work, don't you? Where I'm just like, I split mine evenly. So rest days I have about like 10 to 11, training days like 8, usually around there. But it will depend on obviously how many clients you've got, how busy you are. You almost want to have time as well. Like, I know on Sundays you'll have that as like setup days or days that you can do like other coaching stuff that isn't direct
weekends,
work.
I keep mine like relatively low. So like I have, I don't know. I know on a Sunday I only have like 2 or 3. Oh yeah, I have 3. I think no, 2. I have 2 on a Sunday, and I have like 6 on a Saturday. So I don't have that many on the weekend, but then throughout the week I have like 12, pretty much Monday to Friday. But I can manage that, like, because I get up relatively early. Like I can manage. I feel like if I was to go much more than 12, it would be a little bit difficult. I feel like probably 15 would be the absolute maximum. But the thing is, like we've said before, it's not the check-ins; it's the WhatsApp.
No.
I can do the check-ins. Like I can always get check-ins done, and if that was all that I did. Like, I'd be able to manage plenty more clients, but it's the WhatsApp.
I wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind, like, if you were to say no, like, and this isn't a bad thing about WhatsApp, but if you were to be like, right, I've got to do, let's say, 10 check-ins before I train, and then I've got to come back and do 5, 6 check-ins, like, from 7 p.m. onwards, like 7 to 9. I'd be like, yep, sound, I could do that. Like,
I reckon we could do 20 a day, like, actual check-ins, if we didn't have to do WhatsApps.
Yeah. It's the WhatsApps that just add up. Like
WhatsApp,
you get form feedback.
Like, and I don't want to sound like I'm moaning because I do. Like we've said this before, like we love what we do and we're very lucky, like to be where we are. But
definitely.
Literally, like WhatsApp is almost like a job. It's like a 24/7 job, apart from when you're sleeping. Really, isn't it? Like, when was the last time you cleared all your WhatsApps?
I haven't been. I said to you yesterday, I don't think I've had less than 20, like, for the last 2 weeks. I get down, mate. I get down. I got it down to about 7. I get down to 7, and by the time I've locked my phone, I go back on, and it's up to 15 again, and I'm like, sound. Like I had,
but also I do think as well. Sometimes I think like that, and I let it stress me out. But then when I let it stress me out, I think. Remember when you didn't have any clients? Remember when you had like 4 clients, and if they messaged you, you were buzzing because they needed help and you were straight there. So like, I don't let myself get. Sometimes it gets on top of me a bit, but then I have to remind myself of that. And like, I remember times when, like back in the day, where I wouldn't touch my phone. This is before I was even coaching. Like, I might not touch my phone for the whole day, and I wouldn't have any notifications or any messages or anything. Like, because that was just the norm.
No one likes you. No one likes you.
No one liked me.
Yeah, you fucking give. Everyone was like,
you know what I mean? Like back in the day when like I was a kid and you didn't really use your phone. Like at the end of the day, I wouldn't have anything to like.
I had Snapchats coming through. Constantly.
Yeah, but you're a bit older than me. Like Snapchat.
Photo me flexing like in the mirror, and I'd be like, pop up kiss.
Snapchat came about when I was like 15, 16. Before that, it was all. What was it? BlackBerry. What was the message?
BBM.
BBM. And then MSN before that. Did you ever have MSN?
Yeah, I had MSN. Yeah, definitely.
Get
I
home, like,
used to ask loads.
you on an MSN tonight? You get home and be like, oh, yeah.
I asked loads of girls out, and when they were like, no, I was like, oh, it's my mate. You know, that's what you do. You'd be like, oh, yeah, you're fit. You want to be my girlfriend? And he said, like, I remember one time a girl said, yeah. I didn't even plan for her to say yeah. And I was like, oh, fuck, didn't plan for this.
Now?
Yeah. I think I actually said it was a friend as well. So even when it worked, I was like, oh, shit. Doesn't like, I think I was like, my mate, sorry. Oh,
have we answered that question?
Probably Lauren. Yeah, how do we plan it? So we juggle clients throughout the week in the sense of check-ins will be based off obviously how busy we are. On rest days, me and Finn will have slightly more check-ins. It's the reason why we actually rotate off like a 7-day rotation. We've never done like a 2-week, or Finn has, but like we've never gone like, if we were to do like a pull, push, rest, lower rest, it would be quite hard to balance, like personally with how I work, and likewise for you, it would be quite hard for me to balance on a rest day in comparison, because it's like, I'll get my hair cut on a Friday, then I go to the gym afterwards, I get physio done on Thursday. You know, it would just be a bit of a ball ache if it was always rotating. So I like to kind of have the same Monday to Sunday.
Especially I feel like check-ins wise, it'd be fine. But on pretty much at the minute anyway, like every Thursday and Saturday, for the past few weeks, I've been setting someone up each day, because the setup for us takes a few hours. Like you don't just sort of set them up like that. Like, oh, here's your plan. Like, you know, it takes time to properly set people up. So like today I've set someone up after I got my check-ins done. On last week, like Saturday and Thursday, like they're the days that I'll know, right, okay, that's when I can do that. And then also things like Sunday, like especially now we've got, I'm going to be uploading YouTube on Sunday. So I've got like the thumbnail to do. I've got the podcast to upload, things like that. Like, so I need to make sure that there's some days where I'm not just snowed under with check-ins all day. And also like I said, you know, Sunday really for me and Shannon is like the time that we actually spend together. Because otherwise we don't really have any time together apart from half an hour on a night when we're eating before we go to bed. Like, so we don't really get proper time together. So, yeah.
No, it makes sense. So yeah, hopefully we've answered your question, Eggle. But like I said, when we started, it was a lot probably less strict. Like I always say, you'll probably say the same when it comes to check-in processes. Like you'll always get a check-in back if it's late, but like I always try and stress, like, please just make sure this is on time, because like even to one client, like.
Yeah. Now, like I still don't let it wind me up, because again, it's not worth stressing out over. But yeah, like you say, back in the day, if someone checked in late, you know, you'd still say like, "Oh, can you please make sure you get it on time?" But it wouldn't really matter because you've got time. But like now, it's like this is actually really affecting my routine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like if you were to check in late on Sunday, for me, it would be like, right, on Monday I'm flat out. Tuesday we're at Rotherham. Wednesday I'd be able to get back to you. So a Sunday check-in gets back to on Wednesday, and by the time they probably watch check-in, it's Wednesday evening, and like it's Thursday, Friday, and then it's check-in day on the weekend. You know, so it's a struggle at times, but we're blessed that we're in this position. Like, and I wouldn't want that to come across like what we've said is in a bad way. Like it's mint, but it's also, it can be quite overwhelming. So your planning and your structure is absolutely everything. And as you get busier, your structure will get better. Like me and Finn would probably have, let's say a year ago, we'd have like 8 check-ins, and we'd be like, fucking hell, busy day today. But now it's like 8 check-ins, that's the norm. 15 check-ins would be busy. You know?
Yeah, 8 check-ins is a quiet day.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, this is from Chris Owen. He says, how do you see your coaching going in, say, 20 years? Still coach young bodybuilders or adapt and train an older demographic of clients?
Yeah, I'm just going to go to pensioners.
I'll be doing masters clients by then.
Masters clients, yeah. I think it depends, really. It depends on the market. It depends, like, unfortunately, the way we are, I feel like me and you, we've said this before, we're kind of like not like an up-and-coming new style of coach, but we've almost like, we're probably younger than people in similar situations to us in similar positions, and therefore like we're almost going into the realms of obviously higher-end coaching. But there's always going to be people that are younger and probably do it better, and therefore you just need to almost not keep up with the times, but you almost need to always try and be learning, always try and be on the go, seeing like improving your coaching. Experience is the one thing that will always help a coach. So I'd say 20 years from now, I reckon we've probably got a few different endeavours where it's almost different like money streams, should we say. So from a monetary standpoint, it's probably not just coaching. It would be definitely something that we've almost kind of looked towards going into. But I definitely like to say I'd still be coaching in some degree. It would probably be more selective regarding the individuals that I'd be really, really, really want to be working. Yeah. And I'd probably go from there. What would you say?
Yeah, I agree, mate. I reckon like by that point, we're not going to be doing the exact same as we are now, because we'll have...
Hey, you're going to be 45. Fuck me. Hold that.
Well, I'll be 44. What about?
Yeah, but like
You're going to be 43. It's not much different, mate.
Mate, 45. So that's close. That's 5 years away from 50.
I'm 43, you know? 7 years away. You're really not much younger than me at all.
Mate, massively. You look younger as well. Definitely.
You're fucking mentally a lot younger, like a child with your Angry Birds toys.
Yeah, I know. Maybe if I get rid of them, mate, my hairline will just disappear and I'll be like, oh, fuck. Yeah. Got old.
I think not even by 20 years, but even in the next like 5 years or so, like we'll have different things that we're focusing on. Like obviously we'll still be coaching, like, and I want to be coaching at a higher level then, and you know, like you say, even being more selective. And I think as well, like if for example in the future we were to get like our own unit or having like a little gym, like when I'm older, I'd love to actually go back to PTing slightly, like, but PTing people that I really want to PT, not just PTing like general pop, like PTing my clients maybe once every now and again, just being like, oh yeah, come over and we'll run through a session. Like,
yeah, and you know what your selling point could be? I used to train with that Reece Pearson. He's an IFBB pro. Oh, you know, that would be it. Like the strongest physique guy in the world.
Everyone would be like, who? Yeah, like, that guy was like really orange and looked shit that time he competed. He got beat twice. He only won the Carabao Cup, and they go, oh, that guy, yeah.
And they say, what did you win? They say, oh, nothing. Don't worry.
I didn't win anything, mate. That's irrelevant. Yeah. I'm not a big cheat, so I'm a good person. Yeah, exactly. At least I'm a good person.
Oh, buddy. So yeah, I feel like again we've answered that quite well. I'll have a look at what we've gone for. UCL predictions, quick and fire off before people get pissed off because we talk about football, aka Beth. UCL predictions: Liverpool go against Inter. I don't want to go through every single one. I think Man City will win it eventually. They have to win it. Their team, they have to win. I have a feeling Liverpool will win one big trophy this year, whether that's the Prem or the Champions League. I think if it comes to a one-off game, the final, I reckon City could beat Liverpool. If it comes to a two-leg, I reckon Liverpool would do them. I'd say the favourites would be Liverpool City for the Champions League. PSG, if they're going off player kind of magic, I feel like you can't not have PSG up there, just based off Messi, Mbappe and Neymar. And then I think Bayern Munich, if I'm honest, I don't rate Bayern Munich. I think they play in a Farmers League. Like, I think
Sporting Lisbon are going to win.
What, they're going to come back from a 6-0 deficit or 5-0 deficit?
5-0 deficit. They're going to come back and they're going to use that motivation from the City game to go.
It wouldn't surprise me with City, if I'm honest. Like, there's no chance they're shipping 5. But like,
I think if I had to put money on it, I'd put money on City. Yeah, if I had to put money on an outsider, I'd put it on Ajax.
Mate, have you seen Ajax's stats this year?
I know, it's mental. They conceded like 5 goals or something.
Yeah. You've watched the same like Football Daily video as I have. Did you watch it? Is that what it is? Because I saw that stat.
I don't know. I don't know where I've seen it.
Yeah. I saw a Football Daily stat and it was like 5 goals. And I watched it this morning, my first meal, and I was like, not bad.
See, I'm that busy, mate, that I can't even watch YouTube videos today because I have to work through all my meals.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Honestly, there's no chance I could, like today especially, like with being at the physio and with a setup, like there's no chance.
Yeah.
So busy. So busy.
Busy, mate. Right. You're mate.
This is from Dara Hamill, who I feel like he asked quite a lot of questions, I'm pretty sure. Rest day routines. Ever go for soft tissue work? Anything extra for recovery? Well, Dara.
Yeah.
What do you asked?
We literally have just been out the physio like 2 hours ago. We actually, so I get weekly physio. Finn only gets bi-weekly. You know, he just can't afford it every week. So he has to drop it down to every other week.
Reece doesn't need it every week, but he hasn't got enough work to do it, so he goes.
Yeah, no. For my knee currently, I'm getting it done. Like, we usually get it done every other week, but my knee right now, I'm getting it done every week. So just a bit of shockwave, and I got some like mid to upper back, like soft tissue work. So yeah, do you want to describe because I guarantee our rest day routine is literally the exact same. So you get up, do you do cardio straight away, or I do a few check-ins? I do 4 check-ins, then cardio, then first meal, then cardio, then check-ins.
You're not doing cardio fasted?
No, mate, no. Is that why I'm soft?
Yeah, no wonder you look like shit.
Oh, I fucked it, mate. So what, you do cardio fasted? How long do you do though, mate? I do 25 minutes. You don't do that, you do 20?
I don't do 20 minutes every day. You do 25 minutes, what, twice a week?
Yeah, but mate, my CV is very, very good. And I do it like 140 beats per minute. It's not like sitting on a bike, going through WhatsApps or going through Twitter.
I don't know why you think you have an idea in your head that I sit on the bike and do fuck all. Just because I do cardio every day. Mate, your composition, your CV. I'm at this body weight, and very rarely am I blowing in a session.
Don't know,
Be honest. Do I struggle on the leg days? Am I ever like, oh, fucking hell, I'm knackered, I'm blowing? Never.
mate, you do 5 plates for 5 reps, and then you do this 80s on dumbbell RDL for fucking 7. I don't think you go above 10 reps.
Don't be saying anything about hack squats. I'll come for you. Fucking hell.
Mate, 2.5 to 24 paused. That's not that bad.
They weren't
continuous.
Paused.
They were paused, mate.
They weren't paused.
They were paused, mate. They were paused. There's literally a pause. If you were to look at that, 24 reps, I'm gonna get 4 plates on there, pause for a set of 20, and I'm gonna say, right, try it, and you will not be able to do it. But there we go.
That's what it will be. I think if you did 4 plates now, you'd probably get about 8.
Oh yeah. I'm not saying now. But like, give me enough of a run where my knees hopefully don't tell me to piss off, and I think it should be okay.
You should be a lot stronger than me. So this isn't impressive. It's not like, oh wow, well done.
No, I don't know. Like, we've always been fairly similar on hacks. I don't think hacks have ever been like we've had runs where like, I'm a little bit stronger, then you're a little bit stronger. But like, my leg training has been hampered massively by injuries. And like, I don't even like to use that as an excuse, but it is the case.
Fake
injury. Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, I don't even know why we got into this debate. What were we talking about? What was the question?
It's not a debate at all.
Your CV, rest day routine. How the fuck did that get onto that? How did we get onto that?
I was saying, you for some reason think that your cardio is superior to anybody else's.
No, I don't.
Do it on a shitty little bike, mate.
Mate, it was bought for my grandma.
Up to 140 on that.
It was bought for my grandma when she was dying. Okay?
I don't care. Like, don't try and get the sympathy vote off me now.
Yeah, and she still died. Cheers. Like,
the bike didn't work.
The bike didn't work. She was supposed to strengthen herself up. It didn't work. Bless her.
So I do cardio every morning, 20 minutes. Although actually I don't do it on a Saturday because we train a bit earlier.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not going to go through our whole rest day routine because we've basically
it's the same.
We've basically covered just what we work. We get up, we eat, we work, we eat, we work, we eat, and we work, and then every other week I go for physio. Reece goes every week at the minute. Then we come back, we do the podcast, and then we eat, and then we go to bed. Reece plays on his games. Reece plays with his Angry Bird toys for a bit, and then he goes to bed.
Yes. What do you want on a Sunday, mate? Do you just like do something with Shannon in the day? Because your Sunday is like my Sunday is the exact same as my Thursday, apart from physio.
So it's pretty much the same in terms of I'll get up, I'll do cardio, I'll go in the shower, I'll have meal 1. So everything's the same in that front. Like I'll work usually for the first few hours while Shannon's just chilling and getting ready for the day. And then we usually have something planned. So we'll either be like going shopping or going and looking at areas for houses or going to see family, either mine or Shannon's. Like this weekend just gone, we went to see my sister because she's got a new place and we've not been there like since she's lived there. Is that there?
That is better, yeah.
Have you got a gym pin ready?
I haven't got a gym pin. Can I see if he sat? I'll see if I can get. There he is. He just sat on the bed.
He sat on a gym pin.
No, he sat on the gym pin actually. Yeah, that's why
he looks comfortable. I thought he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my Sunday is not that much different. Like obviously I don't do as many check-ins, but often I'll have to do a setup still, or like I say, I'll be like getting the podcast ready. I'll be scheduling that and stuff. So like. It's almost like I still work and it's just more chilled. And if I have like something planned for the entire day, then it's quite nice. It's like, right, well, I haven't got that much work, so I can cram it in really quickly and then I can get off. Or if I've not got like that much planned with Shannon, then I can do a bit more work. So yeah, it's not that different really.
Nah, makes sense. Right. Let's have a look. New to the core game, your preferred methodology, brands and flavors. Can I say before, Pete, this is an insult to you. This is an insult to all clients and anybody who asks me. Just get a flavor that you actually like the sound of and like you like that food. Like I don't get, or like you like the idea of the flavor. I always find it amusing because it's like your preferences are going to be based off the food.
I don't think I've ever bought something based on someone being like, this is really nice.
Yeah.
It might not be if you don't like it.
Yeah, like you could say this is the nut, like, for example, something like you have a peanut cream of rice.
Yeah, I have chocolate peanut butter.
Yeah, you could say to me, mate, this is legitimately the best cream of rice I've ever had. It is so nice. 10 out of 10. have it, and I would be like, no, I don't want it. I wouldn't even want to try it because I do not like peanuts or like anything like that. You know, so it would be like,
Nice,
get
mate.
something
You
like.
should try it. It's good.
Oh yeah, cheers, mate. I'll actually try it now if you don't mind. Oh yeah, thanks. I'll try it next time. No, so when it comes to brands, I mean, there's Trained by JP, there's CSN, there's Complete Strength, there's Naughty Boy. Is that it?
Bodybuilding Warehouse does it, but it's not, well, from my experience, it's not very good.
Yeah. And what's your? I think Trained by JP and Complete Strength are pretty decent. They've all
I've only had Trained by JP because if I like it, I'm not going to change it.
TBJP Nutrition. That's what it should be.
Yeah, if I'm happy with something, I won't really deviate from it.
Yeah,
especially on the amount of food I'm on now. Like, it's a bit different when you're dieting and you're like, oh, I fancy trying something different. Like, now it's like, I don't want to change anything.
Do you want to know the weird thing about that? I had no, like cream of rice and stuff like that. I had absolutely no cravings for anything different when I was dieting. I literally had the same. It was chocolate fudge.
To be fair,
and I had brownie batter, and I literally just had it, and I really, really, really liked it. I remember Sanai got different ways, and she was like, "Do you want to try it?" I was like, "No." So why not? I was like, "Because I really like this meal." Yeah. Like, I only actually wanted variants after I finished.
I was going to say, it's also coming out of the diet because I was
like during prep, I was literally like, I don't want to have anything else. You can give me anything. Do not want.
I had the lemon cheesecake perform way through prep.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like, even now, I still think, oh, so nice. But I wouldn't want it now because it's quite sickly. But through prep, it was amazing. Like, my last meal, or towards the end, my last meal was literally that sludge with a block of dark chocolate just like put into it, like all crunched up into it. And it was like it was like a dessert. Oh, it was amazing.
If you had it now, you'd be like, oh God, this is...
No, if I had it now, I'd be like, what the fuck am I doing? This isn't enough for what I'm getting. Like, but at the time, it was good.
And then methodology, mate. I mean, I'm probably the worst cream of rice maker of all time. So
I feel like I'm a very good cream of rice maker, but I feel like things like this just piss me off. It's like, it's not impressive if you can make cream of rice, but people tend to make like best cream of rice ever and stuff. It's like, it's really not that difficult. Like, I don't think it should be.
I'm a proud, horrendous cream of rice maker. Like, I'm proud of how bad I am at making it. Like, that's how I am. Like, I'm genuinely the worst cream of rice maker you'll ever meet. So I'm proud of that. Like, but being proud of being good at making it,
but I don't think it's that difficult. And I don't, you know how like anytime anybody gets cream of rice, like, how do I make it? They'll ask, how do I make it? And I just feel like you just got to learn sometimes. These things you just got to learn. Yeah. Like, I feel like obviously there's ways of doing it, but you've got to learn like your best way. It's like even today when I got to obviously I was eating my cream of rice when I got to the physio. And so I was like, how do you fit it in that small box? Like, because I can make it really low volume. Like, you learn your own ways, don't you? Like, if someone had told me whenever I first asked, oh, you need to use 500 ml of water, I'd be thinking, oh, I have to use 500 ml. Like, you just sort of learn as you go. So like, I literally put the kettle on. I'll just before the kettle starts boiling, I can hear when it's getting there. I'll turn it off. Then I'll leave it for a couple of minutes. And then I'll put the cold water tap on just really slowly. And then what I'll do is I'll get my whisk. I'll pour the kettle water into the cream of rice. God knows how much I use. I don't use that much, but I use enough. I'll whisk it about, and then it gets quite thick. If it gets too thick, then I quickly go into the cold water and I whisk. And then it's done. Easy.
Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. I used to like, I go from when I'm in a gaining phase, it's like cream of concrete because I try and use the least amount of water and it just turns into a rock. And then when it's like in prep, it was like cream of soup because I'd put so much water. I remember once Carolyn, the girl that the woman that my mum employs, so like, you know, her office like assistant. I went in after her like, so I went in.
You told me this, but tell the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I went in and I put my cream of rice bowl down and she looks at me, she goes, Reece, what's that? And I was like, cream of rice. And I was like 3 weeks out. And she was like, oh, I thought it was a bowl of water. Like, why are you eating a bowl of water? And I was like, I just looked at her. I think I was like this. I just looked at her. Yeah. I just fuck off.
Even now it pisses me off when people ask about cream of rice because it's different, isn't it? Like, every time I eat it around my family or Shannon's family or anyone, it's like, what's that? What's that?
Yeah.
It's like, I've eaten this hundreds of times now around you. You know what it is. Stop asking me.
Yeah.
My family just
Yeah.
call it brown. Like, oh, you eating brown again? Because it's brown. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
You eating your brown? Yeah. It's fucking weird.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Right, Will Jones. Big Will Jones. Going to be training with us on Friday, the 11th of March.
Wow, what a session.
What are the chances of actually getting a shoulder impingement from not gripping a D handle whilst using cuffs on a lateral, for instance? 11% chance, mate. Exactly, 11%.
Yeah, it's like Russian roulette. You keep doing it, eventually it's going to happen. Eventually,
it's impossible, mate. It's absolutely impossible to say. I would say it's very, very, very unlikely that you will get one without doing that. I quite like it because I feel like I'm a little bit more sturdy. I feel like with me gripping something, I can almost imagine a dumbbell. And when I imagine a dumbbell lateral, I often get a better connection and I feel like my arm's a bit more sturdy and fixed. But it's really not going to be, I don't do that to be like, oh, it's going to prevent an impingement. So yeah, it's impossible to say, but it's very, very unlikely that something as small as that is going to dictate whether or not you hurt yourself.
Yeah. Imagine you do hurt yourself and you're like, oh, fuck,
I should have grabbed that D handle.
Yeah. You're like, that's being lazy. Should have grabbed it. Yeah. Right. Would you rather 1 hour of feet tickles with a feather or 1 hour of Chinese rubs on your arm?
1 hour of feet tickle?
1 hour of Chinese, yeah, with a feather going on your feet. Like, your feet ticklish. Your feet ticklish?
Not massively. I'd much rather that than Chinese burns. I've got sunburn as it. I can't think of worse than that right now.
You're as red as a lobster.
I'm not that red, am I?
No, your face isn't. Your neck is. And the lighting isn't making it too bad, to be fair. No, it doesn't look... It looks a little bit pink, but not too bad. Yeah, I'd probably prefer the Chinese burn, if I'm honest, because I think that the like laughing and I feel a bit uncomfortable.
You're fucking hard, aren't you? Well done.
Cheers, mate. Fucking knock you out. Imagine. Yeah, give me the Chinese burn. I don't mind if it's for an hour or 10 hours. I'll do it.
I'm a fucking hard nut. I'll take it.
You do it now. Do it. Oh, yeah, right. I'll actually ask another question. Oh, God, I got another one, mate. Would you rather piss out kettle water or shit out a cactus for the rest of your life?
Piss out water, because that doesn't mean boiling water.
Yeah, just water from a kettle.
Yeah, it's like just piss, isn't it?
Yeah,
I piss in my kettle anyway.
Makes sense, mate. Fair enough.
Well, it boils it, so it takes out all of the nasties, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I sit on cactuses all day anyway, just for a bit of a laugh. So
it's for fun.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah, they should have said boiling water, not kettle water.
Yeah, boiling water would have given us, like, we got an easy get out there. So pretty poor from you, Andy. Expected better from you there, mate. Right. I'll actually, do you want me to ask an actual proper one? You know that guy?
You ask all your questions and I'll just sit here doing fuck all.
No, you go, mate. You go. Come on, carry on.
J Murphy Fitness. If guaranteed, this is a really good question. This is really good.
Is it actually?
Yeah. If guaranteed to say yes, who are the top 5 people you'd ask to have on the podcast as a guest? So if they had to say yes.
Yeah. Good question. Very good question.
Let's pick a 5 together rather than 5 each. Otherwise, this will take.
Yeah. Okay. So have you got any recommendations?
Ronaldo.
Yeah, Ronaldo. Yeah.
Would you? Is that Ronaldo? Is that number 1?
Yeah, Ronaldo.
Messi's enough of a character.
Cristiano Ronaldo, not R9 Ronaldo.
No, Cristiano.
I'd quite like to speak to R9 and say, like, if you didn't have your knee injuries, do you reckon you'd be renowned as like the best of all time? Like, I'd almost want to be like, come on, tell us.
Ask him if he knows what a deficit is. Do you know what a caloric deficit is, mate? Because you're a bit fat.
Do you know when you were playing about energy balance? Because you really weren't in peak condition after like 26. Like, did you ever think about that? Imagine Real Madrid had their like peak nutritionists and they're getting like, they don't even know more.
In that day, I bet they didn't.
On my coach.
They genuinely wouldn't. They won't have, will they?
No, they wouldn't.
Right, come on, let's get through this. Otherwise, we'll be doing this one all day. Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Right, let's just one. I think that's one footballer. Let's not have any more footballers.
Okay, no footballers. Sir Alex Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yeah,
Sir Alex Ferguson. Okay. Yeah, Sir Alex would be really good. Or like Jose Mourinho, someone like that, like a football manager. Sir Alex, fair enough.
Wait, are you a United fan?
No, I think it'd be good to talk to Sir Alex.
You'd rather have Ronaldo and Sir Alex, and you're not a United fan?
No. Trying to think who else off the top of my head. Thinking like movies, like films, anyone that I actually like have any interest in. Should we say a bodybuilder? Should we say someone in the bodybuilding industry? Like Ronnie Coleman makes a bit of a mug out of himself on every podcast, so we can't really say Ronnie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, yeah, he just ruins his reputation and everything.
I'd rather have someone like Phil Heath on than Ronnie.
Yeah, and I'd say Phil. Do you remember when you commented on my photo in 2014? I was like, do you remember that?
Even Arnold, because it'd be good to. I think Arnold would be good because it'd be good to chat to him about bodybuilding, but also about like his life with like film and stuff as well.
Yeah. What about Ziz? Do you remember Ziz? I can get Ziz on the podcast.
It doesn't say dead or alive, actually.
Yeah, right. Should we go with Arnold? Because I think that's quite a ticks off.
Let's just do this. Is people that are alive. This is people that we could actually get on. Well, yeah. Not really, but you never know.
Yeah.
So Ronaldo, he might be coming on next week. Sir Alex.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, Sir Alex.
Arnold.
We're
Boz.
Boz.
Gio Ashley. Liked my post.
We're Boz, Gio Ashley.
We're Boz and Gio Ashley, yeah.
That's it.
Ped.
No,
Ped's got to come in. Take Ronaldo out for Ped.
Yeah, Ped, yeah. Ronaldo's gone. Ped the Sayans or Cyan or whatever is coming in.
Right, we've got three.
I saw his comment on your post. Fantastic.
Yeah, funny,
two more in a different. We need two more in a different line, like in a different industry. I'm trying to think. Penny Kelly.
Penny Kelly's a legend, yeah.
Yeah, Penny Kelly.
Maybe someone like Obama.
Yeah, that'd be good. Someone like very powerful, you know.
Yeah.
Hitler, as you said, if he was still alive.
But he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, shame that.
Get Putin on. Get Putin on what he's doing.
Like me, imagine he just said, once you're in. He's like, once you're in, you're in. That's what he would reply. Like, what you do is like, once you're in, you're in. That's like,
that's fair one, yeah. Right, let's say Obama then. So we've got one more. I feel like the only one I'd literally be like, I'd just be bothered about Ronaldo and Sir Alex.
Yeah.
I think that's because obviously growing up we were more like football focused, weren't we?
Yeah.
I'd probably rather have 5 like football people on there.
Yeah, I'd be like Stevie G, he'd be in there, you know, Ronaldinho, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, Wayne Rooney. Come on, one more. Comedian, someone that's funny, someone that we could be like, he'll be Finn Kelly?
Get me on.
Yeah. Right. Anyone that we know personally, like that we actually would like. I think you know what? I think Josh Croggan would be good for him to have on a podcast. I think Josh would
be fucking buzzing with that, mate. Yeah. He'll be buzzing with top 5 people in the world, and we've picked Josh.
Yeah, we've got Josh Croggan. No, Josh Croggan. He'd fit in well with our chat.
Yeah, Josh is sound, isn't he?
Yeah, Josh is nice. I reckon Josh, if we were to pick anybody out of all the people that we know,
maybe someone like Callum or.
Yeah,
like a top coach would be quite cool because we can chat more about coaching rather than just about football or training.
Yeah, you know Matt Janssen. I'd really Janssen. Is it Janssen or Janssen? I don't know.
Him, and to be fair, this is the thing with a lot of the top guys. I feel like they're not insanely knowledgeable. They just get their clients to do the basics like we do, and they're just experienced and they've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I remember I was listening to the podcast that Fuad did with Matt Janssen, and everything he was saying, I was like, yeah, that's standard. Yeah. Nothing was like, oh, that's interesting. That's cool to know. It was kind of like everything he said was expected, but then he's just obviously at the top of the game. It's like, I think a lot of it's like, not necessarily luck because you make your own luck, but I think he was on about he just got a couple of really, really good clients. And then from there,
his first 3 people he got on stage went pro.
Yeah,
that's mental when you think about imagine 3 people applying to you and they all go pro. You'd be like, fucking.
But they were already genetically elite, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And if you also think about it, I think as well the reason why he probably stands out in his kind of field is I'm not saying this is this is a pretty poor observation if I was to say it, but I think but if you were to look at bodybuilding culture in America, it's only recently got to the point where obviously hard training is hard training, but I think Matt Janssen was one of those who actually trained fairly modern, top set, back off sets, actually with some level of thought process, where I feel like a lot of coaches probably, if you were to look at them and hear their thought processes, it was right, 5 sets, 3 sets, 10 sets, just do volume, do chest twice a week. you know, and Matt was one of the only, not one of the only, he's not like, I'm not saying it's like him just that he started it, but like he pushes hard training. You see, like he would always say, well, I focus on execution with my clients. I get them to do the basics well. And when you have, let's say, good luck with the people that start up with you and you know the basics and you can get that instilled, and he's probably as well a very good communicator, something again that probably isn't spoken about a lot. And like I bet his like overall kind of communication, how he deals with everyone's pretty good. And therefore, you have a top coach. So it'd be good to kind of pick his brain. But I don't think we'd be like leaving a podcast going, wow.
No.
Like,
well, that's sometimes that's quite promising, because it makes you think, like, right, you know, it's not just about, you know, how well educated you are. Like you say, a lot of it's about caring for your clients and building good relationships and communication.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good question, Jack. Yeah, very good question, Jack. Harry Austin lifts. Good question, this. Do you think Finn would be bigger than you within 3 years if he was to jump on? He.
No.
Is it 3 years to me now? Like, this is the thing.
Oh, yeah. But with you progressing for 3 years, no.
No. Yeah, like it's one of those where if you compare time for me versus Finn for time, obviously you'd imagine 3 years in comparison to 1 year, yes. My starting point, I was probably a little bit ahead, but then also our physiques are completely entirely different. So it depends on what you class as bigger.
I'd probably look bigger because I'm shorter and I'd look stockier.
More stocky. But if you're like, you're never going to be wider than me. You know, like you would beat me in a bodybuilding competition in 3 years, but I would destroy you in a physique show, but you destroy me in a bodybuilding show. I reckon I could hold my own bodybuilding, but in physique,
I could in physique. Have you seen my smile?
Yeah, your smile. I don't smile. If I smile, maybe I would have won.
You do this.
You never know.
That's why PCA aren't pitch you for a post if you look like that.
That's what it is. Just every post, pout. Yeah.
I think, like genetically, like Reece's structure, like I don't know many people that are wider than you just from a skeletal standpoint, like you know, and you've always been really wide. Like it's like you're like, you know, Max Shearer,
yeah.
like he's similar in terms of just really wide in terms of his clavicle, and you can't change that. Like I'm not going to be able to actually grow my clavicle. I can grow my side delts, I can grow my lats. It's like James Hollingshead, for example. Like he's massive, but he's not insanely wide. Like he's quite a narrow person. So yeah, you know, you have to work with what you've got. So depends what your class is bigger. I probably wouldn't look bigger in clothing, but then let's say if we were to compete, like say if it was a bodybuilding competition, me in 3 years on gear versus you now looking how you look or how you competed, then yeah, it'd be quite different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's impossible to say as well, isn't it? Because you don't know how I'd react. I might die.
Yeah.
Might die straight away.
One pin dead on the bathroom floor, just gone.
Do it you?
Like me that one time. Just on the floor, like silching up and down. Virgin. Oh, shocking. Right. Yeah, your question, mate.
Okay, so this is from Mackenzie. Hi guys, hope you're well. Wondering your opinions on the Youre ring. Wondering if they're worth the money. Loving the content as always. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Everything's all well here, hopefully. Over where you're at, sorting out your flight to Nigeria. That's what we'll say to train with Chloe. I think an Youre ring, like we've touched upon like this before, like for data tracking, like really good, like really, really good. And I think there's definitely going to be a lot of benefits to it. But I also think as well, like, is it needed? No, like it's not going to be a game changer. If you like stuff like that, then obviously it's good, and it's good to track. Like I think data is data. Like you'd want, if you can utilize it in a productive fashion, then spot on. But we've said it before, like how many times would you have someone go, oh my God, mate, my readiness is poor. I can't train today. And it's a training day. You should train, you know?
Yeah,
and you can almost really get too much into it.
It's really not the be all and end all. Like it's good if you have one. Like I have quite a few clients now who have got them, and we can assess their recovery data a little bit closer than if they don't track it at all. Sometimes it can, you know, give you, it can almost like tell you that maybe someone's a bit more fatigued than they maybe think they are, and you can catch signs a little bit early and things like that. But it's definitely not essential. I think, especially now with the new model, you still have to pay the same amount or more, and then there's a subscription fee of like £6 a month or something like that on top of it. So it's a bit excessive, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, it's one of them. Like if you're financially in a position where you're like, oh, I'm not really going to miss out on that, then yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's quite cool to have all that data and it can be quite accurate, but yeah, it's definitely not essential. You could see it similar as like supplements. You know, you could ask about supplements and think, oh, is this needed? No, it's not needed, but could it be beneficial? Yeah. Sort of just weighing up that cost versus benefit of whether it's worth it to you.
Yeah. Would you, if like, let's say with your Youre ring, would you recommend one, like straight up? Like if I was to say instant reaction, Youre ring, go for it. Yes or no? What would you say? Like no, you'd say yeah.
Yeah, like I do think they are really good, but
yeah,
it is dependent on finances. Like, because they're not cheap. Like they are a good few £100. I don't know exactly how much. Shannon got me mine.
You haven't got an Apple Watch since you broke it?
No, I haven't. I broke it ages ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not that. But I would like an Apple Watch, but the only thing I'd use it for now is to actually just have it to tell the time, and maybe to like see notifications or anything like that. So yeah, like I'm not that arsed about it. Like I might get one again in the future, but yeah, I don't really need one. If I didn't have the Youre ring, I'd have got obviously one or the other. But yeah, I've had the Youre ring now for ages. But I don't think I'd get the new Youre ring. Well, I don't know. I probably would, because again, I wouldn't miss out on £6 a month or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a lot of money. It's like a few £100 or whatever, and then a few quid a month just to get the data. When obviously, if you've got the old one, the Gen 2, I think this is, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that makes sense. I got quite a lot of pleasure looking at my heart rate variability during prep and seeing it was like 8, I think it was like 8 milliseconds or something. I was like, yes, just so fucked. Fantastic. That's actually what I used to enjoy. I'd be like, get in, it's lower than yesterday. I must be more fatigued. I therefore am getting leaner. Fantastic.
That's your question, yeah?
Yes. Cues / how to brace for SLDL and deadlift. Well, Finn's the last person to ask. I mean, SLDL, deadlift, bracing, just pull it from the floor. No, I think in all seriousness, like when it comes to an SLDL or deadlift, like bracing should obviously be something you work upon. But if you're going into it, we've said so before on all hip hinges, bracing should be almost standardized in between reps, and it should be worked upon in beginners. But if you're at like an intermediate to an advanced level trainer, if you're thinking, right, well, on the Once You're in Your Own podcast, Reece and Finn said this, I can guarantee you're probably going to be overthinking next time. So take it with a pinch of salt and almost kind of learn what we'll say over the next kind of few weeks, or over what we say in this short bit, over the next few weeks, and almost apply it. But I wouldn't just go in and be thinking, this is how I brace, this is how I have to be. But it really depends on, like, if you're doing a tap and go approach, obviously you'd want to brace at the top. If you're doing a dead stop, then obviously you'd want to brace potentially at the bottom. You don't have some brace at the top, you want to go into that eccentric no brace. But it's going to be very person dependent. Usually I say start from the floor up. We said this before in any hip hinge. So you almost think about your feet positioned correctly, then you're thinking about, let's say, at the top of an RDL or whatever, pulling the bar into you almost in a sense. I always think to like externally rotate your elbows, kind of bring them into like your pockets, into your lats, get your scapula retracted in that position. I'll almost bring that like a lot of air in at the same time, and then I initiate the movement with hips back, kind of chest forward, and almost try and create that kind of stability through my posterior chains being in a straight line as I like go into that eccentric phase. But again, that's going to be personalized to me and what I think. I can stay really tight on an upper back perspective on a hip hinge. Finn doesn't as much, so you might be thinking completely different. But usually I'd say start from the floor up and just nail the basics as you go up.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because bracing for everybody is quite a different kind of concept. Like for me, the way that I think to brace is get as much air in as I can and think to sort of like push that air out against the sides of my core, basically. Like that's how I think to brace. But other people, they might think differently. They might think of like pulling air up into their rib cage and things like that. And kind of depends on, again, what works for that person. And obviously as well, you know, for a hinge, you know, you're going to be in a slightly different position. So if you're hinging from the floor, you might not be able to brace quite the same way as if you're starting from like an RDL where you're unracking it and then stepping back. You know, you're probably in a more efficient position to brace when you're stood straight. So there's loads of things that come into it. I think it's very difficult to teach through a podcast. It's a lot easier to teach either in person or watching form videos, but so much of it comes down to breathing. Yeah, you know, the way that I put it and the way I've put it in like posts before and spoken to clients about it is if you imagine like a Coke can or a bottle of water, like if you imagine that this is one that's never been opened, you know, if I stand on the top of it, nothing's going to happen. Like, it's not even going to crush at all, and that's because it's full of air or it's full of liquid. But if I open that and like squish it down a bit, and then if I push down on it, it's going to crush down. So like that's how I visualize it. In terms of if I'm not getting enough air in, I'm not going to be able to brace as hard as possible. I'm not going to be able to hinge as well as I could, or whatever it may be, whether it's a deadlift, whether it's an RDL. So I focus like mainly on breathing, and then if you've got as much air in as possible and you hold that air in against your stomach as much as you can, whether it could even be on a hack or a leg press or whatever it is, even on things like presses. Like, you know, I was speaking to a client the other day and told him about his breathing and his bracing on a single arm cuffed lateral, because you could tell that he wasn't really doing anything. It can be on anything. But yeah, like I think, you know, a lot of the time people are scared of looking stupid because they're scared of actually getting a fucking proper breath in. Like, stop giving a shit what people think. Get a big deep breath in. Brace as hard as you can. Guys, do you see that thing I put on my story the other day? I said to Aria, breathe like it's your last breath and brace as if you're going to be hit by a truck. And she messaged
I've made that my line. I've said about the truck before.
And she messaged me saying something like, what? So I should just go into every rep thinking I'm going to die? And I was like, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
No, literally, I remember, I think you said about being punched. And I think I said to a client, and we said on the podcast, like, if you're going to get hit by a bus, you would tense everything and you'd be like, you'd flex as hard as you want. And that's always what you need to be doing prior to any movement that's going to require any ounce of like proper and effective bracing. And every movement's going to be dependent, but especially on hinges, like if your bracing's off, you're going to be poor. It's the same as like how many times you see a leg press, like someone fails right at the bottom because they've not braced properly and they've almost just gone into it without as much air in. It's like, well, you've shot yourself in the foot there, you know, and that's the reason why you failed.
Right, mate. I've got plenty more questions.
Yeah, I've got a fair few. Do you want to end on one each?
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right, your question, and I'll end it with mine, mate.
This is from Miles. Oh, you know, last week he asked about the football.
Football. What was the question for him?
You know, he was like, oh, who's going to win on Monday?
Yeah. What was that about?
So he messaged me and he was like, he saw a poster for United against Liverpool. And it was like basically it was the date of Monday, but it was for May, not February.
Oh, yeah.
So he thought that it was Man United against Liverpool.
Can I say that's actually quite nice that like he's asked a question, like he's probably saw that and he's thought, I'll ask that as a question, like you know, and he's not even really like he's clearly not a football bloke, or he didn't even really check.
But he was like, it's like I got it wrong.
Yeah. Like I said, we were confused.
I said I thought you were just having us on, like we thought you were just taking the piss. Yeah. But yeah, he said thoughts on coaches hiring people to work under them. Is it something you would do?
Oh, good one.
We've talked about this quite a bit recently, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. It's an interesting one. I think eventually it really depends on the position you're at. Like if you are, as we said at the start when we were talking about kind of how to prioritize our check-ins, how things are. If you were to like right now, let's say, if 30 applications came through and 30 people wanted to start up and they were all lifestyle clients, you wouldn't probably be able to take on 30 more people, could you? No. Like you'd probably be able to take on 10. You know?
Yeah, even then it's pushing it. 10?
Yeah. I've said like
especially in such a short period of time, like it'd be a night.
Yeah. But like over, let's say no one leaves over the next 6 months or 3 months, and let's say 30 people, so that would be, let's just say 10 a month over, which is easily doable. Like we've both had months where we've had like 8 to 10 startups. We're like, fucking hell, it's a busy month. Like, is that going to be a case where eventually we'll get to a point, and I can see it probably happening in the next 6 to 12 months, where I'm probably like, I'm literally like, I'm pretty much full as the moment now. And like every time I get a new startup, I'm like, right, this is my check-in days. Where can I take another little bit from? Where can I take a bit from there? And eventually, I think something like this could be beneficial. But it would really depend on the individual, their kind of ethos. We've said it before, are they at the same level when it comes, like, would you trust them fully in putting their name under your name? And that would take a lot of trust. It would take a lot of knowledge. It would take a lot of responsibility. And it, in a way, and there's no insult to anybody, but it is a risk. And that's how it would be, because you wouldn't want
the most important thing is trust. Like, it's literally, that's all it is. Like, I'm not, I wouldn't be afraid of hiring someone who I know isn't the best coach or the most knowledgeable or anything like that. Because you got to give people a chance. And, you know, that's how people get better at, you know, and build their way up and get more of a name for himself. But it's more so trust. It'd be much more valuable to me knowing that they are really good with time management. They're really
Yeah.
mentally switched on. They're really driven. That would matter so much more than their education or their previous coaching experience. Like,
Yeah.
it's so much more important that I know I can rely on them to not
Yeah,
miss a
exactly.
beat, not miss a check-in, things like that.
Yeah, I agree. You wouldn't want to imagine it like how you'd almost be you'd be embarrassed for like yourself, because you like, imagine if you were to get someone who just come on and you got a message like, hey mate, I've signed up and obviously I'm working with X, Y, Z, like the co-coach, and he's missed my check-in 2 days in a row. And you're like, did you check in on time? And he's like, yeah. And you'd be like, oh, why? Like you'd almost, I'd be like, I've never done that. And I would be like,
you wouldn't let that happen. So yeah. That's the only thing.
I'd be mortified to, if that was like under my name. So, like I said, it would be one of those where I think I don't really like to make much projections because I enjoy just living and thinking, if I'm doing well, this is going well. But if I was to be like very truthful, this time next year, I'll be prepping ideally for a pro card. I would have got a few people on stage this year. With how my clients are, a fair few, a lot more will be on stage next year. And I don't think, like, if I'm honest, I'll probably be able to take on, if, like I said, more than I've got now. And every month I'm only getting busier. Likewise, we've only got busier. So eventually, I think for us to handle more people, I think it would have to be the next step, and it would be the next kind of evolution for our coaching. But again, it's one of those where, like, we're lucky. We said this before. I've said it. Like, we've kind of shared this journey in a way together, where we started and where we are now. But I'd still say we're a little bit off. But I would say in the future it definitely could be beneficial. But again, it's one of those where it has to be the person. Everything has to align well. And right now, like, I wouldn't be like, this is something that I'd need to happen in the next like month or two. This is more of a medium term thing that could occur.
I also don't think there's anything wrong with just capping your clients.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing wrong with saying, right, I'm not going to take on any more than I have, like, currently. You don't need to then hire someone else. I think it depends on, obviously, in terms of income, then yeah, if you want to keep progressing your income, then either you increase your current prices or you take on more clients, or you find a different stream of income, whether it be things like clothing or whatever it may be. There's numerous things that you could do. But I think if you can take away from the fact of just trying to earn more money and focus more so on your service and trying to give the best service possible, then you don't need to hire someone under you. So it's trying to have that balance. I think, like, if we were to do that, then they would be seen as a lifestyle coach. So they would be, right, I coach the bodybuilding clients, if you like, and you coach the lifestyle clients. And then over time, if you even developed and got even busier, you might have someone who coaches female competitors, or whatever it may be. You might have someone for different fields and things like that. But I think, again, there's nothing wrong with just saying, right, this is my amount of clients that I'm going to deal with, and that's it. And I don't want anybody working under me because I don't trust anybody. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You've just got to come to terms with the fact that you're slightly limiting your overall income, unless you obviously look into other streams from there. Yeah,
no, I agree. To be fair, it's an interesting one, and like I said, let's see how it is. It's a good thing though. Like, I find it quite mental. Like, I remember you got a message, like, was it last lockdown? And you were like, mate, someone wanted to work under me, and we were both like, what? That's mental. Do you remember that? Like, I think you got like it was like not from a client. It was like a message request, like, hey mate,
would
really
yeah.
Do you remember?
I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think we weren't busy at that point, were we?
Well, we were busy in where we were, but like, it wasn't that busy. It was like, during lockdown? I remember, like, it was where, like, we went into another lockdown. We're like, great, just when things started to get good. Another lockdown, fantastic. But yeah, how was that? And what we'll do is we'll end on one more. I've got a few more. We'll have a look through. Right, so you got 5 more. I think that's Jan, because we've said his name before.
Yeah.
And again, we've answered this before, so I do apologise because, again, mate, you've answered this, I've answered this. But what courses / practicals would you recommend for coaches?
I would say you should get a PT qualification, just as a sort of a basic qualification to just basically almost like get your foot in the door. I feel like you should have that when it comes to either PT. Obviously, you need it for PT, but I feel like that is something that I would recommend if you're going to be coaching. Not that it's essential, but I just feel like it's it's the absolute basic. It's like getting your GCSEs and then trying to get into college or whatever. Like, it's almost like just the basic level that you should have. Obviously, we've spoke about it before in terms of whether or not you need to PT before coaching, and we've said you don't need to, but it can definitely be beneficial. So obviously, if you were to PT before coaching, then you do need a PT qualification. Otherwise, you can't work in a gym, you can't PT people, or you shouldn't be. Outside of that, you don't need anything. Like a degree can help. Obviously, like we've got degree. I don't know what your degree. What was your degree in?
S&C.
Angry Bird.
Angry Birds, yeah, Angry Bird degree, mate. Yeah, strength and conditioning, mate. Yours was in. I know yours. Yours was like sport, exercise, and nutrition science, wasn't it?
Pretty Something much, like yeah. Not exactly that, but yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah.
So like that can help, but again, like we'll both, and I know you'll agree, like we didn't learn that much at uni because we learned through our own experience of watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading a lot of forums, like, listening to podcasts, like, going on to membership sites, like all these kind of things.
To put it into perspective, last year when I was on doing the online stuff, the only one I turned up to was S&C, and they did one on personal training and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say, because it sounds cringy, me saying I taught the lecture or whatever, but literally they got me to come on and just speak for like 20 minutes about how my processes were, what I did, what I do. And like, I was like, this is what I do, like, to the whole class. And it wasn't like anything special. It was just literally like, this is what I do, this is what I've been doing. And he was like, oh, Reece, it's such a testament. I was like, well, no, it's because during a lockdown, I haven't been playing Call of Duty. I've just been coaching, That's literally what it was. And like, I remember I got an email from my uni saying like, they wanted to use me as like a success story in regards to like my personal training, even though it's not personal training, it's online coaching. So I was like, you didn't get that right. And then like my success when it comes to training and stuff. And like, I loved my uni. I have no issue. I didn't even reply because it's like, well, no, I'm not going to attribute my success to stuff that I didn't actually learn while I was there. Like, I categorized it as success. I was like, I'm just coaching people. Like, it's cool. That's it. I don't need to be bragging.
They're almost trying to get the credit for your hard work. Yeah. I remember something like that happened. It wasn't the same thing, but something like that happened with my uni. And I can't remember what it was. It was almost like an awards evening or something like that. And I was like, I'm not going in. Like, I didn't even go to
Best, worst attendance ever.
Yeah, like, probably that's what it was, mate.
Yeah, you've got the worst attendance. You've actually done all right. Congratulations.
It was something like that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, like, I just think you don't need to go to uni. Like, obviously you can make something of yourself. Like, there's loads of people who didn't go to uni and have got like massive success stories in terms of business or whatever it may be. But it can help. And I think one thing that did help with uni was understanding how to read like research papers and properly like understand literature rather than just going, oh, well, this person said this, so this is true. Like, when you first start uni, they sort of teach you that, look, you can't write about your own opinion. You can't write about just something you've read online or something that you've heard. Like, you have to properly state, what you, or why you're saying that, where you've got that from, where's the evidence, what do you then conclude from that, and whatnot, So that definitely helped in terms of understanding, when it comes to reading, literature, or if somebody says something, like, now we don't go, oh, that's right. You go, you take everything with a pinch of salt, because you know that it's not always going to be true, or it's not always going to be exactly what what someone says. So that can help, but that's just in life. I don't think that's just in coaching. But yeah, there's other courses like things like Integra education is supposed to be very good. Obviously, there's like membership sites that you could go on.
D3 University, bruh.
Like things like that. There's loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff. So again, none of it is needed, but all of it can definitely be beneficial.
Yeah. I genuinely say the most important is literally just podcasts and YouTube videos, if I'm honest. Like, that's your own
experience as well. Like,
exactly.
I think the most that I've learned in coaching is through my own experience. Like, what has worked with
through coaching,
what hasn't worked.
Like,
it's
almost like if you think about it, like, when you like learn to pass a test for a car, like when you drive.
Yeah, you don't
really learn to pass the test, but you actually, you learn to drive afterwards. And it's like, it's almost the same with coaching. Like, you can have everything in place, but if you're not coaching, it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, you need to be getting some experience in the field.
Yeah.
And like, again, I think a lot of people hold back and they almost say, I want to wait till I know everything. And in reality, you won't know everything. I remember people signing up for me like literally 2 years ago. And I was like, oh, this is a bit like, and I made a fair few mistakes, and I'd hold my hands up and be saying like, mate, this hasn't been good. Like, we need to make a change. And like having that kind of self-criticism, and then that almost that self-evaluation of, right, this went well with this person. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. And then you get to a formula where you're like, right, this is pretty good. And like, I could have any person apply now relative to, obviously, like, if Nick Walker applied, I'd be like, just keep doing what you're doing, mate. Like,
send him to me.
Yeah, exactly. But no, if I had anyone apply, I'd be like, yep, cool. I could teach some stuff.
It wouldn't be overwhelming at all. Like,
no. And like, I remember when I first started, like, when people started sending you form clips, I was like, like, these people are doing what I'm telling them. This is mental. And you're almost thinking like, it better be good. Like, I better be good at this, but you have to embrace that. Like, I've never
thought of it like that. I know you've said that a few times. Like, you like the fact that people, like, you find it cool that, like, you tell someone what to do and they do it. But I've never experienced that thought, because I think because I went from PTing, so it's like, obviously you're there with the person, showing them what to do and teaching them through it, and then they're doing it, like, rather just like, right, here's your program, do it, and then obviously they send me videos, etc. Like, I think that's probably why I've never really thought like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm not a psychopath as well.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense, mate. So yeah, that's that. Anything else you want to say, mate, before we wrap this episode up? Episode 36.
I'm ready for my next meal.
Yeah, of course you are. Sultanas, is it, mate? Sultanas, yogurt, eggs.
No. That's on a training day. Final meal.
What's this one?
This is just
what's
more
M5, bro?
Rice and salmon and veg.
Fair enough, mate. Well, hopefully you have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Okay, see you later. And anyway, guys, thanks for listening. If you've got any questions, please feel free to send them over when we put the question box up every Thursday, because these get uploaded Monday. Thanks for the story tags. We've actually been getting a fair few, so I do appreciate everybody who tags in stories. It means a lot for the podcast, and that's pretty much that. Thanks if you got to the end of this one. We've been told by our physio today he doesn't get through the midpoint, he just gets bored. So
yeah, should we say, if you get to the end, comment something. Literally just comment something, the word.
Angry bird. Something on the Insta story of an angry bird. Fantastic. Anything angry bird related. Yeah, and that'll be that. Other than that, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you in the next podcast.